Now on the contact page, let's add some form of text as well. Let me come to the about page and copy the heading text, come back to my contact page, paste it here, move it to this layer, making sure it is centered vertically and horizontally. Now let me change the name, make it contact us. Let me copy other text from elsewhere and bring it into my project. In this case, it's going to be text for the address, the location and telephone number. You may want to type in something different. So I'll move this here. I'll double click on it, highlight this to this section and change it. So I'm going to use the gray I created in my style manager. In this case, I'm going to change this to Lato 10 gray. Change the location to Lato 10 gray bold. If you remember, we created bold. Change this to Lato 10 gray. And this to Lato 10 gray bold. I'll repeat the steps here as well. Do it for this one. This one has to be bold. This one has to be bold also. And do it for this one. Now I want to be able to add some form of social media icons here so that people can visit our social media pages. To do so, I would insert an image, a Facebook image and a Google Plus image. I'll go to my toolbox and under image, I'll click on image. I'll draw on an empty space and it's going to open a window for me to select the image I want to use. In my case, my social media image is here. I'll click on Facebook, copy this and I'll change the size of it. In my case, the size is going to be 20 pixels by 19 pixels. I'll go ahead, position this here, copy this, paste it, move it a little bit above, then 8 pixels away from the top one. I'll double click on it and change the particular icon I have in there. So I'll click on the browse icon, scroll down and select this image. Click on open, click on OK, and I'll go ahead and change the size as well. I'll make it 20 by 19 pixels also. Hit on OK. Now I'll add some form of text. Copy my text here and paste them here. So I'll position this rightly centered to this image and move it 5 pixels away from the image to the right. I'll do the same for this particular text as well. Then I'll double click on it and change the style of that text. So in this case, I'm going to use Lato 10 gray and use Lato 10 gray for this as well. I'll go ahead and create some form of link so that when I hit on this image or this icon here, it should be able to redirect us to our Facebook page. So by doing so, simply double click on it. Where you have link, come here, and where you have link to, click on the drop down arrow. We have forms of links you can create, either external web address, page in this project, email address, file. File is when you want to create something that is going to be able to be downloadable. Smart link, FaceTime, mobile number, and so on. So in our case, we are going to click on the drop down arrow and select external web address. So I'll just type in facebook.com here and hit on OK. Let's go back and take a look at something. Let's come back to link and we have our target window or frame. When you click on the drop down arrow, how do you want that particular link to behave? Should it open the same window? Should it open in a new browser window? Should it open in a pop-up window? Should it open in a window or an iframe, or should it open in a lightbox? In our case, we want it to open in a new browser window. So click this, click on OK, and let's set this as well. Come to links, change this to external web address and make this google.com. You can change it to suit your preferences. I'll click on the drop down arrow under target and select a new browse window. And then I'll hit on OK. Now let's link the text as well. Highlight this text, click on link. And where you have link, select link to, that is web address, external web address. This should be facebook.com. And the behavior should be in a pop-up window. Let's go ahead and click on OK. Let's do this as well. I can simply click on the drop down arrow to see the kind of links I have used already and just easily select from them. The behavior should be in a new browse window. But before then, we have a chance of changing the style. By default, let's take a look at the styles we have in here for links. Let's click ahead. Let's click add. By default, a test link should have a color blue. That is in our project and should be underlined. By default, if you look below here where we have preview, this is how our test links are going to behave like. In case we don't want that and want to change it, let's change the style name to something much more better. My link style. Now let's click on the drop down arrow and see the options we have. We have link, visited, active or hover. Under link, we are going to change the color to be gray because we have in gray here. We uncheck the underline, click on the drop down arrow and select gray. Now let's click on the drop down arrow and select visited. When we visit this particular page or this link here, what should be the color of it? In my case, I'm going to change this to gray again and it shouldn't be underlined. But when we hover over it, that is hover right here, it should give us this color. So I'm going to leave the default color and it should be underlined. Now when it is active, it shouldn't actually have anything doing. Nothing should happen. So I'll check gray and uncheck this. I'll go ahead and click on OK. Click on OK. So in my case, I'm going to apply this particular style to this link here. So I'll click on the drop down arrow and select the style I just created. I'll do the same thing for this link I created. I'll just highlight over it, come to my links and click on the drop down arrow under appearance and select my link style I created. Go ahead and click on OK. Now let's go ahead and preview this page and see how it looks like in the browser. So it loaded in the browser. So this is how our page is going to look like. It looks like our master page objects are missing and there's some form of border here. Let's go back and correct that. So right click on an empty space, go to page property and where you have miscellaneous, select your master page. Click on OK. And let's make sure to position all the elements in the center. Using Ctrl A, highlight all and move them a little bit to the right. Now let's double click on the form area, come to style and where you have border, let's change this to 0 and this to none. Now let's go ahead and click on OK and preview this again. Hit on F5. It's previewed nicely in our browser and looks like our website is really getting in shape. Let's minimize this and go to the master page and do some tweaks in there. Double click on your master page and we would want to change this copyright text, adding some particular style to it. So in this case, we are going to add Lato 11 gray. Now it looks okay. Let's come back to our contact page, hit on F5 again. I must say that our contact page is looking very great now. Let's go ahead and browse the other pages and see how they look like. Let's first go to the service page. This looks great. Let's go to the portfolio page. You remember we created gallery items here. So let's click on this. Opens in a light box. Now let's come to the About Us page. It looks well. It looks like the master page is missing here. So let's go back and fix that. Come to the About page, right click on an empty space, go to page property, under miscellaneous, select your master page. Click on OK, click on OK. Let's preview the page again. Let's scroll down. Everything is here perfectly correct. Now let's go to the home page and see how it looks like. So this is our home page. We want to add some form of link to this particular button. So we'll go back and take a look at how to achieve that. Let's minimize this, come back to the index page. Where you added the button, double click on it and where you have link, we want to be able to link this particular section or this particular button to the About Us page. In this case, we are going to use page in this project and select the page. Where you have page, simply click on select and click on the About page. Click on OK, click on OK. Now let's hit on F5 and see how it looks like. So the page has loaded well. Now let's hover over this. So as you hovered, you realize the cursor changed, giving you some form of hand over there. This is telling us that this particular object is a link and it is linking to a page or something else. So let's click on it and see what happens. So it takes us to the About Us page. This looks great. So for now, our website is really ready for a desktop, but what about a mobile device? So in the next video, we are going to see how best we are going to convert our website, making it fully responsive on any mobile device.